Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here doing a completely different type of video that I've done in the past, where it's going to be more of a, I don't want to say a story time video, but I also don't want to say it's a get ready with me because I'm really not getting ready today. It's a little bit of a get to know me, but it's also something that's kind of not talked about in today's society, and that's going to be more or less about long distance relationships. It's going to be a video about my long distance relationship because that's something that can be made into a video another day. These are the experiences that I have seen being in a long distance relationship, where it's more so about the whys and the why nots, and then more so about the how I tend to deal with things when it comes to a long distance relationship. Backstory, I've been in a long distance relationship, or an LDR, for 2.5 years now. In terms of how my long distance relationship started, the story that really only needs to be said for this point of the video is that Ryan and I rekindled on social media. Ryan and my long distance relationship started out more or less online. I went to school in Boston, Ryan's from the Boston area. We met through mutual friends. I went home from school for economical reasons, and him and I rekindled. So mine and Ryan's relationship has been mostly social media, where it's been texting, Facebook, Twitter, it's been all of that. However, Ryan and I do see each other, at least, like I said, we try to aim for at least once every 4 to 6 weeks. First, question that I get a lot is not so much why, but so much like, why don't you? Or why not date somebody local? Or why do you put yourself through that? Like, that doesn't seem completely rational for somebody like me. This is where I'm gonna kind of get a little sentimental, is that you can't help who you fall in love with. And I know that sounds so cliche, and I'm never the kind of person to be like, oh, cliche and love stories, but it's true. Like, obviously I had never found somebody around here that was worth my time or was worth getting to know at that intimate level, otherwise that would have happened. And when I was in school, it was the same thing, where I would, date around, but I would never settle down. I've always been the kind of person that if a person proves their worth to me, then yeah, I'm gonna give you the time of day, and yeah, I'm gonna want to progress things. Dated guys around my area, but again, it was for whatever reason they just never worked out. I can't explain Ryan's and my relationship because it is a very, I don't want to say it's a weird relationship, but relationships between two people should not be talked about and scrutinized under a microscope. It might work for me and Ryan doesn't mean it's gonna work for somebody else, and that's what makes relationships so dynamic and so unique and so special in their own cases. Like, something that might work for me will not work for my friend and her boyfriend, or my friend and their partner, or whatever. Nowadays, everybody sees these things called relationship goals. All these things that people do, and it's a lot of showy things. It's a lot of, oh, my boyfriend brought me a diamond ring, or oh, my boyfriend buys me Taco Bell, or oh, my boyfriend buys me a puppy. And it's like, that's not what relationships are, and they have never been that. If you want to shower your partner in gifts and affection and love, be my guest, because if that's what works for you guys, then that's what works for you guys. For me, not so much. I'd just be happy if my boyfriend posted an Instagram picture of me, but that's, again, not the point. But we see these things called relationship goals, and it's like, it's taken everything so out of context of like what relationships actually are, where it's a person and a person wanting to build together as a unit. I guess we can talk in terms as to why I subject myself. Well, again, it goes off of, you as a person should know what your worth is. That's really bright. Rekindled with Ryan. I was going through a really tough point in my life, and I had done a lot of growing as a person, and I was down in the valleys for months at a time, and I was slowly on the incline back out. And when I met Ryan, it just made that transition from coming out of the valley and up to the summit a lot easier. And this isn't supposed to be like a sappy video, but you grow as a person, and since being with Ryan, I've definitely developed into a completely different person than I was 2-3 years ago. Why do I put myself through the trial and tribulation of a long distance relationship? Because I think it's worth it in the end. Just as anybody who's in a long distance relationship will tell you, they think it's worth it. Now, who's to say me and Ryan won't break up tomorrow? I don't think that's gonna happen, but you never know. Anything can happen in a relationship, and anything can happen in life. It's like, say Debbie and Johnny grew up next to each other, and they lived, and they were neighbors, and they grew up, and they were soulmates, and this and that. doesn't make their relationship any stronger or any less different than what me and Ryan's is, which is a long distance relationship, which has been majorly based on texting and Facebooking and all of that stuff. It's been the majority of ours. Their relationship, they might be miserable for all we know. Who knows? But Ryan and I, we don't see each other, which makes that time more precious. Just because circumstances aren't ideal doesn't mean that our relationship is any different than any relationship here of two people who see each other daily. That's the point. People asking me, how do you do a long distance relationship? The suggestions that I will give you are certainly not a foolproof plan to a long distance relationship. It takes both sides of the relationship to put in the effort. It has to be two-sided. It has to be boy and girl, or girl and boy, or whoever. Both people have to agree that this is something they want. You can't have a person who's going to half-ass their way through the relationship. You can't have a person who's going to half-ass their way through the relationship and gets to use a free pass because their girl's in a different state, or their girl's in a different town, or their girl's in a different country. You need to both be committed to the cause, which is your relationship. Let the fact that I have a relationship stop me from doing the things that I want to do. Go out to the club, to the bar, to wherever with my girlfriends. Say at the time they're single, or say at the time, you know, somebody just broke up with their boyfriend and we're going out and we're having a F guys kind of night. Being with Ryan, I've learned that if a guy's going to put his attention towards me, you can deflect it quite easily by just saying, I'm all set. You don't have to do anything a guy wants you to do. Keep that in mind. While I was still dating Ryan, and still to this day, I still go out. I still have fun with my friends. I still do the things that I want to do. Just because I'm in a relationship and that partner isn't with me doesn't mean that I'm going to sit at home all day and live my life like as a hermit. Granted, that's how I much rather spend my time, but that's not the point of this video. I know that no matter how drunk I get, or what level of intoxication I'm in, or whatever state of mind I'm in, I know that at the end of the day that I have Ryan, and all the scuzzballs at the bar don't compare to him. If you are that confident in your relationship, you have no worries. People will always ask me, how can you trust Ryan? How can you know he's being truthful? Well, for the kind of people that Ryan and I are, I know that he's not going to go out to the bar until 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night and pick up some girl. Ryan and I are both very similar-minded people where that's not our idea of fun. It might have been at one point in our lives, but we're not those people anymore. When you're that invested in a long-distance relationship, you're not going to do things that are going to, politely put it, fuck it up. Comfortable in your own relationship and you trust one another, and trust is a big thing that people nowadays don't want to talk about because we're so romanticized by the idea of being hurt that we put up these barriers because we can't trust anybody and we can't take what it means to like be in a relationship. We don't want to be happy as millennials, and it sounds super weird. We're afraid to fall in love, we're afraid to be genuinely happy, and we're afraid to be misunderstood. Maybe we romanticize the idea of being misunderstood, being this brooding, dark person who just wants to be loved. And that's where we fall into trouble because those things don't exist. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship. There is no such thing as a foolproof guide to making someone fall in love with you because love is messy, love is difficult, and love has a lot of loopholes and a lot of things that don't make sense. My relationship is not the same as your relationship, and it doesn't have to be. If I know that I'm happy in my relationship, then that's all that really matters. Nobody else's place inside someone else's relationship, unless it's about the two people involved. As a whole, this video is kind of mumble jumbled. I went a lot off of not what's long distance relationship and what works, and just more or less relationships in general and things I've heard in my 2.5 years of being in a long distance relationship. And for Ryan and I, long distance is not something we're obviously going to do for the rest of our lives. We are not happy being away from each other, but we both agree that in our current points in lives and where we both are and where we both want to be, working on ourselves individually before we come together as a unit is better. Hopefully by this time next year I can say like, look at our new house or look at our new apartment. But everyone, I certainly don't think it's ideal. I pretty much hate it, but for current circumstances, I'm a person of ration and I understand why. it has to be this way, but obviously that just means that anytime I get to see Ryan, or any trip that we do, or anything that we put a lot of significance on, it just means something a little bit more. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it, and I want to thank you for listening to me ramble about I don't even know what in this video, but I feel a little bit better addressing the situation. And if you guys want to see a relationship video about me and Ryan and how we both kind of put in the efforts into doing long distance and like a relationship tag, so to speak, then let me know in a comment. Link all of my social media, including my blog, down below. You can check that out over at Life with Sarah or at sarahlock.wordpress.com. 2 H's, 2 K's. Love you always. And if you like my videos, and if you like my content, and if you like me, feel free to subscribe by hitting the button down below and getting notified when I post new videos. With that said, until next time, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.